You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. Oh, feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
It's a faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
Who are you?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that again. Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe. Now please, get off this planet while you still have a choice.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. That's right, kids. We're back with more new Doctor Who. Can they keep the streak going? Last week was a great episode. We're over halfway through the season already, kids. Can you believe it already? I'm just shocked. And we are looking at Fugitives of the Judoon. And was it surprising? Was it an interesting episode? We'll talk all about that. But we've got a great crew joining us tonight. Of course, we have our regulars. Mr. Mike Gordon is here. Finally, he's back.
Howdy.
Are you ready for some Doctor Who news?
The first great episode of the season, and I have to miss out on discussing it. So, but it was yes. I listened to you guys review it, and I don't really have much else to add. You guys did a great job.
Oh, thank you. You know, Alan was kind of looking at your chair, saying, "How often is he not here?"
Well, you know what? If Alan did, if my spot did become available and Alan did fill it, that's an upgrade in my opinion. So you would be doing all right.
I've never heard him say howdy, so I'm not so sure about that. So, it would be interesting to have your seat filled, but there would be a little bit less Mike on the show, and I can't do that. I don't want to be the only Mike here. So
fair enough.
Yeah, but we have another M here. We have Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hi, everybody. It is great to be here, and it is really great to be here this time.
Yay! Oh, isn't it so much happier when there's good Doctor Who to talk about?
The last two episodes, yay!
Exactly. And rejoining us, it's been, about 4 months or so since you've been here, Eric?
A few months.
Yeah. Welcome back, Eric Wincentsen. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here again, especially for this episode.
Oh, yes. It was like, we wanted, aren't you glad we didn't invite you for, the one where they...
Orphan 55.
Oh, I was forgetting the name of that, Mary. I was forgetting the name of
People will never forget the name of that one.
Yeah. I was just going to say,
I'm
the one where the doctor went on vacation.
Kirby will never forgive us for having him guest on that episode.
We do owe him for that.
Well, we're letting him stay at our hotel room when we go to Con K. And yes, folks, we are returning to Concaster Burris. It's been officially announced. Earth Station Who is returning, and we'll be having a table there. And so we'll talk all about that in a few minutes. So, but yes, so Kirby will be joining us for that also. So that's how we can repay him for it. Oh, I'm still going to charge him for the room. Don't worry, but I'm not that nice, but yeah. But it's cool. We definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. And please write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. We definitely are, interested to hear what you guys are thoughts on this one. This one had a couple wow moments in it, and we'll get to it in a few minutes. We promise we're going to talk about it. But there actually is some Doctor Who news to talk about, and might as well jump in. Basically, with Doctor Who news, it's been kind of announced that Ryan Sinclair is going to be doing another series. And it doesn't, basically Tassin Cole has been cast as the lead role in AMC's new drama series, 61st Street. and we don't know when it's coming out, or when filming is going to be. Is it going to interfere with Doctor Who? So we don't know, but it looks like Ryan actually might be leaving the series. Do you think, guys, if that happens, do you think Graham would stay without Ryan, or what?
Well, first off, let me just say that I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Cole would want to depart from playing such a deep, in-depth character as Ryan Sinclair to go elsewhere and find a satisfying character arc in some other drama. Like, it just shocks me to the core that you would leave a character like this.
I can imagine that you would have a better character than Ryan Sinclair.
But he wants to do something other than be dizzy all the time?
I'm actually surprised somebody wanted to hire him, for the lack of work he's really done on Doctor Who.
Well, you know what? I think, you're not wrong. I mean, if this is the only thing on his, on his audition reel, then God help him. But look, and I don't know. It came out also with this news that, and I haven't been able to verify this, so forgive me if this is not great, 100% accurate information. But the next series 13, both Jodie and Bradley have signed on. So they are confirmed to be signed on to do that season. However, Mandip Gill, as well as Toes and Cole, were not signed on. So now anything could happen. Mandip could sign. With this announcement, they might, rethink the whole Bradley Walsh thing, or Jodie might leave, and it just becomes the Graham show. So
isn't it already? Hello.
No.
Come on.
Actually, maybe that's this season. There's just not enough Graham. Like, I just am not getting my fill of Graham this season because he has been really toned down this year. One thing I have to give him the credit for is that now, unfortunately, that means that he's just as useless as the other guys.
Yeah.
As far as the companions go. But, it looks like there's going to be a shakeup with the companions. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a shakeup. I've read that Jodie is definitely confirmed for next season. They haven't said anything past that, but I haven't heard anything about Bradley yet. So I don't know where you heard that at, but yeah, multiple sources, including, I think Variety and Entertainment Weekly have already said that Jodie will definitely be back for next year. So, I'd love to see, new companions with this Doctor, completely all new companions and one companion.
Or maybe just companion. Yeah.
Exactly. No, exactly. So it's just craziness.
Or as this episode, I mean, we're going to get into it, of course, but, maybe the Doctor herself becomes a companion.
Maybe to the Doctor.
Or maybe we'll just have two doctors.
Well, also remember, Graham did have a romantic scene in this episode. He did get a nice smooch.
He did.
It's true. He did.
He was a lucky guy.
Exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see how this wraps up. I don't see Ryan lasting past the final episode. I don't see him making it to the New Year's special. Most likely. So I'm curious to see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I think, I also heard that Bradley hurt himself on the set of or in filming one. He does another show where he and his son, I think, travel, and I think he hurt his back pretty bad while filming that as well. So I guess a lot of things are going to be up in the air. So But really, the bottom line is, if they're getting rid of companions, I'm not really sad about that. If there's going to be a shift in companions at the end of the season, I'm fine with that. And hopefully, all these announcements are things that Chris and company are prepared for, and they will write them off in a decent way.
Yes, well,
yeah,
we can hope.
We can hope, or the way Chibnall's been doing it, they'll just disappear. Boom.
Who would notice?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, in Yaz's case, where is she? Oh, she went back to the police force. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ryan's going to get left on an alien planet where he will marry the king that he's only spent 10 minutes with.
Oh, of course.
At the end of this season, it's going to go right back to the second episode, and she's going to be like, you know what, fam? It turns out I do want an upgrade of companions, so I'm just going to leave you guys here.
Craziness. We'll have to wait and see, and I'm curious to see what happens. Maybe we'll have finally Ryan go off with Captain Jack or something.
I don't know. I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. I don't want anybody to die.
No, not at all. No, you don't wish death on anybody.
So yeah, I mean, and that goes for characters as well. I don't want to see I mean, certainly that would be grim. Although the way this show's going, who knows? But and it seems like out of any of them, Yaz is the one who's really kind of starting to branch out and shine this season.
Yeah, I feel like she is finally at least getting a little more to do than she was before.
Exactly.
Ryan's really just hasn't done anything.
No, not even in this episode. And, oh, well, we'll talk all about that in a sec. So we definitely would want to hear from you guys at home. What do you guys think? Which companion should stay? Which should go? Or should we start all over? That's the big question. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back in a moment and when we talk about the new episode.
Armed with a queer woman's perspective, the Terminus Doctor Who podcast brings you passionate geekery for the world of Doctor Who, covering both the new and classic series. Come check out the Terminus Doctor Who podcast at terminus.libsyn.com, or come look for us on iTunes or your other favorite podcatchers as part of the ESO network. The Terminus Doctor Who podcast. Queer, opinionated, Whovian, female.
What is that?
A Judoon warning transmission.
Fugitive is highly dangerous. Precautions must be taken.
Not that weapon. Not here. Humans will die.
We need to go. What are you talking about? Go where? Do you trust me, Chris? Sometimes.
I think you know far more than you're telling me.
I'm sorry it has to end this way. You got so close to escaping.
Contract states Judoon must deliver Fugitive to Contractee and Division.
This goes way higher than me.
So who would that be? Whatever is coming for you, we'll be here.
By your side, like it or not.
You're probably a bit confused right now.
This I gotta see.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Now we are talking about Fugitive of the Judoon. This one took me totally by surprise. I didn't know what to expect. I thought, the Judoon are back. We've seen them twice before on Doctor Who, and it's been since the Russell T Davies era that we actually got to see them. And because I don't think they appeared in Matt Smith's era or in Capaldi's, did they?
They did. They were actually, I think, at the end of Matt Smith's.
When they were on that planet Christmas?
I think so.
Because I know they weren't part of the Silence.
They do show up as part of the Alliance of Enemies in the Pandorica Opens. They are also in, I think, like I said, I think they're in the that at the end on that Christmas planet or whatever too. But
they're just like little brief glimpses.
Yeah, they're in. It does say here that they appear in Smith and Jones, The Stolen Earth, End of Time, Pandorica Opens, Good Man Goes to War, Magician's Apprentice, and Face the Raven.
Okay.
So there have been now those are cameos, most of those, but they've been kind of there.
Nope. Okay. So we still haven't. This is the first time they've had a story with them since like a full story.
Since Smith and Jones.
Yeah.
Well, they did make the fairly big appearance with when the Daleks stole the Earth in the David Tennant era.
Yeah, and I think they are in Sarah Jane.
Okay.
But they're kind of a smokescreen here anyway.
That's really true.
Yeah, they're not really the main. And this is the second time that Chibnall and crew have done this season, where they've been like, "Hey, everybody, this is what the episode's about," and they've sort of like waved their hand and said, like, "This is, the Judoon back. Hey, everybody," and then not one but two punches that they give us when we're not looking. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really interesting, Mike, because I'd already seen this episode when I listened to you guys talk about the last episode. And Mike, you were so funny because you're like, "Well, I hope the next few episodes have some surprises for us." And I'm like, "Dude, you have no idea."
Nope. I was blinded when I was talking about that last week. And, good on Chris for pulling this out. I was like really amazed. Nobody knew that Captain Jack was coming back. It's like, and it was funny as hell when I heard the voice on the, over the intercom. It's like, wait a minute. No. And then he popped up.
That was an awesome moment.
Barrowman has that voice, and it's just like you recognize it, and it's just like, what? It's like, is he going to be the face of Bo now or something?
Right.
No.
Yeah, I wondered, does he just have a voiceover? Nope, he's there, and it's a small appearance, but it's a very fun one. I mean, it's really a great scene with him and Graham.
Mm-hmm. And I was reading an interview with him, and basically he was saying he had to lie on even social media because if he showed up in Cardiff, people would know he was filming Doctor Who.
Right.
And
although
it was
he posted about it right before it aired in America.
Because he.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody! Watch tonight. I'm back. It's like, dude.
Yeah, with the picture of a TARDIS next to him.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
But even then, he still probably didn't surprise. I mean, there's another surprise here that obviously he didn't ruin. So, and interestingly enough, I saw something with Chibnall said that he's not going to be back this season.
What? Jack won't?
Yeah, he said, "Well, you won't see Captain Jack till next season again."
Okay.
And I was like, now it could be a smokescreen. It could be.
Yeah.
Well, I know the Cybermen are coming back. They've already shown it in the trailers.
Yes. Well, that doesn't mean that Jack's back.
No, not at all.
But yeah,
and,
I wondered about that.
And I'm just going to say for the record that I was not ecstatic. I liked the fact that Jack was back, but I was not happy with the way he was used in this.
Beware the Ides of March.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good way to put it, Eric.
I like the way he was used in it.
First of all,
I didn't mind it.
His hairpiece was awful, and I liked his attitude. I mean, he was Jack, to be sure. I don't dismiss anything that Barrowman did because he is definitely the character still. But at the end, he's talking in riddles and code, and Jack doesn't do that. Jack is like as free as you can get, like as far as tell the doctor not to, like all this code stuff about the Cybermen. And that didn't feel now. Obviously, if they're going to tie him in, which is, the Davies thing, that he's going to eventually become the face of Bo, then yes, he's going to start talking in code more and more as he gets older. But I was like, Jack, what is this? I don't even know why you're here and what you're doing. And it left me unsatisfied.
Okay.
And with everything else going on, it just seemed like something to take the companions don't really work. So let's take them out of this story for a while. Give them something to do. Basically be an answering machine for the Doctor. And that's all they really accomplish. And I was like, that didn't satisfy me.
Okay.
I agree because I liked him coming back and everything. I liked how he played the role. It just seemed that he was basically there to get all the companions out of the way.
Thank God for Jack, then.
Yeah, get a plot point across for the rest of the season. Get the companions out of the way so we can get to the real story, and then just disappear again for a while.
I think that's true, but I was fine with it.
Yeah.
It was a fun moment for me, and I actually didn't really want him to overstay his welcome.
No, because too much Captain Jack becomes Torchwood, and there you go.
Well, I disagree. If Jack's back, I want Jack back. Like, I don't want it just a little like cameo where he's just like, tell the Doctor this, okay, bye now, and that's it. That's all we see him. It just doesn't. It seems like that character is worth a little bit more than that, and we should respect it more than that. He should have something like relevant to do, rather than we're just wrapped up in all these questions more than anything else, which is fine. It's Doctor Who, I get that, but the fact if none of these are resolved for a while, or if ever, then there's so many questions. Like, what was Jack doing there? Like, what alliance is he working for?
It's a better subplot and a lot of better questions than pretty much anything else Chibnall has done since he's taken over the series.
Well,
yeah, it's sort of like watching a two-parter. Also, I can't. Yeah. I think we'll probably have a different take on it after we see where it goes.
It looks like next week has nothing to do with anything that came up this week.
Oh, well, what can you tell from a trailer? Who knows?
Well, case in point, this one, right? So, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like it was a. And then when Chibnall came out and said, "Oh, we're not going to see him again until next year," I was kind of like, I don't know. It just seemed like, okay, well, what was that all about?
I would take that with a grain of salt.
And that may be true. That may be true.
Now, is this going to start being a running joke? One thing that really got me about his appearance is, once again, we got them mistaking Graham for the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So is this going to be some sort of running joke that Chibnall thought was funny for this season? Or
that he didn't really want to do like a lot last season because it was the first season, but now he's like, oh, let's do this more now.
Yeah, but that needs to stop. You're right about that.
Well, exactly.
That was once was okay, but yeah.
Although to be fair, the two times where it has happened this season were different circumstances. One is someone who had never met the Doctor and just assumed, and with Jack, all the Doctors he's known have been men, so of course he, and like, his reaction to it was typical Captain Jack. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it just feels like, and especially on the weight of everything else that's going on in this episode, it just feels like last year Chibnall was like, I'm not going to bring anything back. I'm just going to pave my own way. And this season, he's like, you want stuff back? I'm just going to throw stuff at you. You get this back, and you get this back, and you get this back. You want this? Fan service, fan service, fan service. And I'm like...
And it's working so much better.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I kind
Maybe
of
for some,
agree.
sure.
I kind of agree with you, but I think in this episode it worked.
I think it worked really well.
I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, because
From
the show
start
needed a
to
reset,
finish.
so that's definitely it's working a lot better.
But you know what worked the best, and I was so happy to see back? The round things on the walls. It was awesome. We might as well jump in with both feet. We got a new doctor, or new old doctor.
Or do we? Dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun.
exactly. Well, she's definitely Gallifreyan, but is she Gallifreyan from our reality, an alternate reality? I know Chibnall's saying, "Oh, she's definitely the Doctor. It's not a fake," you know.
Oh,
He
well,
said
that
it's not a
doesn't mean
fake
anything.
and it's not from another universe.
I mean, just because he says that, it means nothing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's true. But I mean, I sort of have to, at this point, we have to play along, right? I know many people who are like, oh, it's just like, the time that, I can't remember his name now, but that Christmas episode with the doctor, the guy who thought he was the doctor, right?
The next doctor.
That was a terrible episode.
And and I'm like, no, I don't think that's it.
No, because she had a TARDIS. He only had a TARDIS, which was a hot air balloon, dude. If you remember.
She had an actual TARDIS.
I wasn't.
Well, she had the TARDIS. Actually, the TARDIS. It was the police box. And
but you can make a TARDIS look like anything. I mean,
I know, but it's it's how many. We've seen other Time Lords have their TARDIS in other shapes and everything. Why would they? If she's not the Doctor, and even the the control room that she had was very similar variation, more modernized a little bit of the Hartnell TARDIS.
This is interesting because I'm finding that when people are talking about this, there seems to be a definite split between people who think that she's actually she is legit a incarnation of the Doctor, and there's others who are not convinced. And both camps seem to like the idea, but I just wonder, at the end of it, when this is resolved, are those people which people are going to be happy?
I'll be happy either way.
Well, I won't. Not if it's written like crap. I won't.
Yeah, but that's not what he's saying.
As long as she doesn't go on vacation with the Doctor, I'll be fine.
I would feel so much better about this if I was confident in the showrunners. But the showrunners have given me no reason to think that they're going to be able to pull this off in a great way.
I don't want to prejudge it, though. I mean, I
so missed Mike last week. I really did.
I personally, I loved this episode because of all the possibilities. That now, could it go down the tubes? Yes, but I don't want to think that it's going to go down the tubes. I want to at least go into it with an open mind. And there's so many different directions it could go. I mean, we could speculate forever. It could be a Doctor that somehow came into being but wasn't supposed to. Yeah, we could do, I hope not, but it could be the Master. I mean, there's a million different ways you could go.
But then you also had that young woman who was, sent to destroy the Doctor, and she was Gallifreyan.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was representing the Gallifreyan alliance that hired the Judoon.
Right.
Exactly.
And so we don't know anything about that.
And so it was...
And it was implied that she didn't know that Gallifrey would be destroyed. Because that was news to her.
And that's the one weird thing is that, Gallifrey is supposed to remain constant in a timeline. You can't jump around in Gallifrey's history, supposedly. And then having somebody from the Gallifrey's past come to our present type thing,
Yeah, that does seem odd that somebody from Gallifrey's past would hire the Judoon of the present. It's just like, what?
But we could just very easily be
present.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. To me, it just feels like someone who just is not really understanding. I don't know. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it. And I didn't care for the idea of the new Doctor. This other Doctor is fine. The casting of this other Doctor is fantastic. But I will say that I didn't like her as a character of the Doctor, because I didn't feel like, I mean, when she found out her companion was dead, there was no emotion whatsoever. We didn't get a moment with her feeling bad about that. She's more of a fighter, and she uses weapons, and the same reasons why Jodie's Doctor didn't like her, I kind of was in the same opinion. So, and I realize I'm not supposed to like her, although a lot of people seem to like her. So I don't know if I'm really supposed to like her or not, but I don't.
That's why I think she is actually a pre-Hartnell Doctor that for some reason wiped from her history and everything, is because her attitude towards losing a companion, her mannerisms, her completely alien disconnect from anything else around her once she gets her memory back, is very much like Hartnell was, and like the first Doctor was in the first series in An Unearthly Child, where he was more than willing to just kill somebody to get him out of the way. There's a scene in there where he takes a rock and is about to bash some caveman's head in, just to get him out of the way because it's inconvenient.
Yeah, but
well, exactly.
I don't like that either. So it's not like I'm consistent with that as far as my doctors. I don't like my doctors waking up and strangling their companions. It's like I don't like, I don't like that. And I get it. I'm not supposed to like that. So they're doing their job. I'm not saying that it's written poorly. I'm just saying that as a viewer, it just turns me the wrong way. So. I find it interesting that after the first episode or so, the first episode, when the Master whispers in the Doctor's ear, everything you know is a lie, that was a red flag for me as far as what was going to happen. And of course, now we're seeing that sort of play out. And I'm skeptical. I'll admit it. I'm skeptical because of the people in charge. But a person that I know that we were talking about Doctor Who, we were talking about that first episode, and he said, do you know anything about this timeless child thing? And I said, no, I don't know anything about it. I don't know what it means. It's going to be interesting to see this play out. And he said, I've heard a rumor that they're going to use this as an excuse to bring into the forefront all these past women doctors. And I was like, well, that would be weird. And he's like, yeah, that's apparently there's some secret thing or whatever where there's been a whole bunch of other doctors that we haven't known about over the course of the Doctor's history that have been hidden. And most of them have been women and other races and everything. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, wow, that's really strange. I hadn't heard anything about that. But then again, I don't really pay attention to rumors and everything. And then this episode drops and I'm like, well, what do you know? I don't know what's going on here, but this is interesting.
It is interesting. I hope they don't go that direction. There's always been rumors going around that Hartnell was not the first incarnation of the Doctor.
Right. Well, and not just rumors. I mean, the Fourth Doctor adventure where he goes back and we see all those faces, right? Oh,
in Brains of Morbius, where it was actually the crew. They just needed people to fill in and everything. And they've talked about it, and I'm not opposed to that. But, that's part of the fun of Doctor Who is you don't know why she left Gallifrey. And the whole thing is Susan really his granddaughter? The whole thing with that. And, in this one, the Doctor was traveling with this guy named Lee. Was Lee, was he, obviously he was Gallifreyan also. And
well, she called him her protector, not her companion or friend or her assistant.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, because the Doctors we know of have had protectors that have been human as well and non-human as well. So.
Yeah, well, in Family of Blood, you could argue that Martha's his protector companion.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. No, she definitely was. And, basically that glass thing in the lighthouse was basically the same thing as a fob watch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Right, the what is it
break
called?
the glass.
The chameleon arc?
Yeah, the chameleon arch.
Which, again, another thing. I thought that was clever to have that, come back. It was kind of cool to see that again.
Are you guys familiar with what's called the Cartmel Master Plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. How he basically wanted, was it Ace to eventually become a Time Lord?
Well, also that the Doctor would somehow have had a lot in his past that he was not aware of and could possibly be the other that had been one of the 3 founders of Gallifreyan society. So that's also kind of where I'm wondering if they might be resurrecting that and trying to take that someplace, because it was, it was originally that the Doctor was supposed to be a lot more than just a Time Lord, that he was practically a demigod, and I wonder if that might be where Chibnall's decided to suddenly go with this type of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I wondered about that too. He's sort of like she is sort of a proto Time Lord, founded the whole thing, and I kind of hope they don't go there. I'm not going to be surprised if they do, actually. But it's kind of nice how leaving the Doctor's, or whatever the Doctor was before Hartnell, as a mystery. It's nice to have an air of mystery.
Mm-hmm. They kind of, if you remember, they kind of touched on it when they showed Clara going back and hiding under the Doctor's bed when he was a small boy.
Yeah, that, and to be fair, that I didn't really care for either. Whenever Moffat went kind of like, I'm going to explain, the stuff about the Doctor in the Doctor's past or whatever, without really explaining the Doctor's past. And I just think it's a road that we don't need to go in. I mean, I don't watch Doctor Who to find out about what the secrets of the Doctor are. Like, I could care less. Like he or she has her secrets, and I want to just go on adventures and, have stories that are relevant to today and are pretty entertaining. I think whenever you start, like, that's why when the Master said everything is a lie, I'm like, oh, they're going to try to go back and do some stuff. And I don't know. I mean, we'll wait and see where it pans out, but I can't say I'm terribly excited.
I'm totally excited.
I'm very excited where it's going.
Yeah, this last episode really got me energized.
And a lot of people are, and I'm glad for that. The critical reception has been amazing. The fans have been amazing. Like, I've seen like a lot of people out there going like, "Hey, this is awesome. This is cool. This is like Doctor Who just is like cool again and everything. Everybody needs to watch this." They really, and I'm much like, man, I wish I was there. I wish I was there. I'm not, but I wish I was there too.
I'm excited for what's coming. These last 2 episodes have re-energized me for this season, for this Doctor, even for Chibnall in a little bit. Hopefully it won't leave me flat at the end of the season. I'm going, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be that person. I don't want it to be that, just like, I reckon for the old days of Doctor Who where we actually did like Russell T Davies, and, stuff like that. But, truthfully, I'm enjoying it. And I've watched this episode twice already. And I want to see it a third time because I want to see the look on Jodie's face again when she says, "I'm the doc." The other woman says, "I'm the Doctor." And she's like, "What?" Type thing. It was just priceless. It was nice not having to worry about where the fripping companions were, type thing, because none of them were being underused or whatever. They were with Jack, and Jack got
just all Jack babysitting.
Exactly, Jack the babysitter, and it was awesome.
And for once, the Doctor felt what it was like to be talked down to by somebody who thinks they're superior to everybody else, and
exactly. No, you're completely right. And somebody who isn't the master, basically.
I think that dynamic was interesting. And I thought, like, once again, no fault of Jodie's. I mean, she played it as well as anybody could have. The scenes with her trying to figure out what's going on, trying to get on a handle on things, trying to get on top of things. And as I just appreciate her so much.
Oh, and I loved it when she said, "I want to talk to you woman to woman," when she's talking to the Judoon commander.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was just awesome.
That was great. And I wrote just on the production side, they did the Judoon really well.
Oh, yeah.
They did.
The way they did their faces.
Yeah. Especially after Orphan 55 and the monsters and that. This
was
like light years ahead. And this was all practical effects with them, wasn't it?
A lot seemed to be.
A little, they seemed overall, but it seemed like there was some CGI mixed in with it. Like, especially like their when they were speaking and everything.
Yeah, I felt like their mouths had some CGI. I think it was
exactly.
This was not a cheap show to do. This was not a cheap episode to produce.
No, this is when they poured money in.
The cheapest scenes it looked like was Jack's spaceship, truthfully.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
That just looked like it was a room.
It looked like it was a gymnasium or something that they decided, let's put a console in it.
Right. We'll put a fake cardboard console in and it'll look space agey.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Because we ran out of money. But that was okay.
It was so funny also when just another thing about last week's episode when Alan was like, I'm really looking forward to the next 2 episodes because the Fugitive Judoon is written by Vinay Patel, and then the next one after that is written by Pete McTeague, and I'm like, Pete McTeague, you mean the guy who wrote Kerblam? Yeah, like how am I supposed to get excited for that? I know he did, but I'm like, come on, guys. How am I supposed to get excited for next week?
Oh, yeah. I was not excited about that either. I was not a fan of Kerblam.
Yeah, Mary and I were like, really? Really?
Yeah, I even though I was listening to the episode, I could see your faces when he said that. I was like, yep. You guys were probably like, what? Oh, well, it's too late in the show to argue.
Kind of, sort of. Exactly. All right, that's all the episode for tonight. No, but yeah, this one lived up to the hype. This one, I was excited because the Judoon were back. And then for them to throw another Doctor in and Jack, it was just awesome. And I was more excited after watching this more for the new Doctor than Jack, type thing.
Oh yeah, well,
definitely.
Yeah,
I am excited to see people cosplaying as the new Doctor. I guess they're I guess we're calling her the Ruth Doctor. Is that what I've seen mostly?
I've heard some people say call her Ruth Doctor or Doctor. And when her Funko Pop comes out, I'll buy it, of course.
But even with this introduction of the new Doctor, one thing a lot of people I don't think noticed was they wrote Jodie's Doctor quite a bit more calm. She isn't running around like a cat chasing a mosquito the entire episode. She's actually a lot calmer and a lot more focused than she's been portrayed in the last episodes.
Yeah, Eric, I agree. Throughout the episode, she's running around trying to figure out what's going on with the Judoon and trying to solve this and when they go to the lighthouse, she's running around, she tells what's her name to start a fire. She's going to go out in the back and dig up the parents. Ew. But but the minute she sees that TARDIS, I mean, I kind of felt the same way that she did. The minute that TARDIS is revealed, you're like, what? And it takes a while to try to recover from that. Like story wise, character wise, even viewer wise, your brain is just like, what?
And it was perfect. If you think back to the different Doctor crossovers, the Doctors never really like each other. And so I think maybe in the 50th anniversary special, you had Tennant's Doctor and Matt Smith's Doctor pretty much getting on.
Bros. They're Doctors bros.
But when you've had the second Doctor and the third Doctor ever meeting, or when Doctor 2 and Doctor 6 met, or
5 and 10 got along.
Yeah, well, their father,
that
father-in-law,
was before. That was before.
That's because Tin had to kiss up to the father-in-law.
Exactly.
That was before
Exactly.
all that, though. But that was his doctor, right? So, I mean, that makes sense as well. So,
well, exactly. But it was interesting because if you notice, the interaction between the Ruth doctor and Jodie's doctor was very similar to 3 and 2. You know, they were sniping at each other the whole time, and even, you know, being, I don't want to say female, but they were griping about each other. I never would wear something like that, you know, type thing, you know, like that shirt. I would never be seen in something like that. And then her going, well, look at your pants. They don't even go all the way down to your shoes. You know, it was just awesome.
It's really interesting. And I do want to watch this one again, because I want to see it without, you know, without being blindsided, right?
All the commercials? No.
Well, you know, as we said, we've done this before. I don't worry about commercials. But I think that, you know, a second viewing will be good to especially to watch a lot of those scenes. But ultimately, like I said, the ideas were kind of cool, but the execution, I think, in some cases was not to my liking, because, you know, I expect my doctors to do stuff clever, and if you've got 2 of them, I'm thinking, okay, something really clever is going to happen here at the end, and it just ends. Like, it just ends with this empty, like, there's nothing clever, there's nothing, like, it's not resolved. Whatever the story is, it's not resolved. So I felt kind of empty, actually.
I will say that it did start to lose it a little for me at the end. As much as I love this episode, I did also feel like it kind of, they didn't quite know where to go at the end. So I can see where you're coming from, but the rest of it just, I totally enjoyed all the way through.
I mean, we've got, you know, I mean, it's not, it's historic. You know, it made headlines. So it got eyes on the show again, which is good. You know, I can't fault that at all, you know, for them to do something, you know, to cast, is it Joe Martin? Is that her name?
Yeah. Joe Martin.
Yes.
To cast Joe Martin as a doctor, an incarnation of the Doctor is, you know, I mean, people are going to argue that it's you know, it should have happened sooner, and yes, it should have. But the fact that they've done it now, it's kind of interesting. I just hope it just pays off, you know, like, don't just do it for a stunt. That's not what you should be doing, right?
Yeah, I don't really want them to retcon either. I mean,
they did that with the War Doctor, and it still confuses people.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to like, oh, there's actually 15 doctors, or there's, you know, like, how do you? I don't know. I have no idea how they're going to like explain this, and you know, that's not to say that the Doctor Who can't take chances like that. Like, you know what, if we call her 13, but she's really 64, who cares, right? I don't, you know. I mean, it adds to the confusion maybe, and it makes it a little bit more inaccessible for new viewers, I think, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought she was another War Doctor at first when she started doing that whole long kiss goodnight thing.
Good point. Good point.
After all of a sudden she started getting some memories back. And I thought that's the first thing I thought is, oh, we got another War Doctor.
Nope, agreed.
But didn't turn out to
no,
be that.
not at all. And I'll be very interesting, you know, could it be that her memory's wiped and she regenerates into Hartnell? You know, there's so many different things it could be.
Yeah, there's a million different ways they could go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it also goes back to my theory that the Master and the Doctor were once married.
The way they act, yeah, I wouldn't.
They act like an old married couple or an old divorced couple.
An old divorced couple.
Exactly.
Yeah, because, you know, I know pretty much my ex would probably want to destroy humanity to make sure I was, you know, unhappy. So definitely would understand that. So, yeah, I could see that. She also shrinks people with this really weird ray. So,
your ex,
yeah,
or
well,
okay.
So,
and I thought all those were pop figures on your shelf.
Oh, no, those are just friends who've been at parties.
They just got in the way.
They just got in the way of her. She just mails them, puts them in boxes and mails them to me. You know, she lives in Everett, Washington, and goes by the name Funko. Yeah, that's it. All right. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this tonight?
I hope that they continue where they're going with it, and that they actually do something good with it. And I also hope at some point they explain how her TARDIS is also still a police box.
And it's folly to ask for final thoughts, because we're going to be talking about this for a long time.
You're completely.
Yeah,
this is just the beginning. I mean,
right.
For better or for worse, this show is now just broken open.
Yeah.
And that is kind of exciting.
I was thinking about this earlier, that it was going to be really hard to review this one because there are so many questions. And it's all questions, and I enjoyed that. I'm not saying I didn't, but it's hard to review it without knowing where it's going.
Yeah, it's like one of the reasons why we didn't review the first episode by itself, because we knew it was a two-parter, so we knew that was going to be unfair.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've said, if I had more confidence in the people that are making this show, I would be as excited to watch, this develop as anybody. But, I'm a little bit more reserved.
Okay. Well, you're entitled to it, and it'll be very interested to see how this plays out. Let's go ahead and rate this. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Eric, we're going to let you go first tonight.
I'll go with 4. It might go up to 4.5 if they actually do resolve all this and go with it and make it all satisfactory. But at this point, it's a 4. So, and hoping that they don't screw everything up.
Awesome. I could definitely see that. Mary,
I'm going to go out on a limb and give it a 4.5. Even though I absolutely understand everyone's reservations, and I have not exactly been a champion for Chris Chibnall either. But I'm gonna be positive and hope that it gets resolved in a satisfactory way. And if nothing else, I really enjoyed this episode, and it was just a thrill ride from the start to finish for me.
Fair enough. Okay, Mikey.
I'm going to give this a 4 as well, or a 4. I don't think anybody's given it a 4 yet, so I'm giving it a 4. Eric, sorry. I'll give it a 4 as well.
He's a nobody. It's okay.
No, not at all. Not at all. Good company. Because, and it's just me, because I'm just trying to figure out how to even judge this episode or review it or what have you. I give it a rating, because it's got this whole, the whole thing with the Judoon is just a excuse. Again, I don't want to give them credit for finding a entertaining way to get rid of the companions for an episode. Like, just because Captain Jack is just babysitting them, you should still treat them like characters that we care about. So they shouldn't get a pass for that. But on the other hand, this is the most daring thing that Chibnall has done since he's gotten the job. And I'm going to give him props for that. We'll see where it goes.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to give this one, I'm going to match up with Mary on this one. I'm going to do a 4.5. I thought it was extremely strong. If this is a sign of what's to come with this storyline or with Doctor Who this season, please bring it on. As long as we don't have Orphan 55 ever again, I'm be fine with that. I rank that up with like the Mr. Sandman episode or, stuff like that. There's some really stinkers every season, has at least one. But I also think the Tesla episode and going into this one, I think we're on a roll. Let's see if we can go into next week and continue with this. Fingers are crossed, folks. I know,
Kablam 2.
Oh, no.
The return of Kablam.
I've not been able to look at bubble wrap the same way ever since. You know?
Hey, he got a pop figure out of it, so...
I haven't gotten that one yet. I still need to get that one. But I will, so it's okay. But I think it's a really interesting thing. What did you guys think of it at home? We definitely would love to hear from you. Please write us at earthstationwho@esonetwork.com. Let us know what you guys thought on this one. Do you think it's going to continue? Is it going to fall on its face? I'd like to hear some predictions. What you guys think this is going to turn into. Please let us know. You know, I'm very curious to see. Do you agree with maybe Chibnall rewriting a lot of Doctor Who history and retconning this stuff in? I'm very curious to see where this is going to go. All right, let's thank our folks for being here tonight. Eric, you made it through another one with us, my friend.
Yes, I did.
Thank you so much. Hopefully you didn't scare you away too much.
No, you didn't. Thank you very much for having me back again.
Well, maybe we'll have you back at the end of the season to get some of your final thoughts on how the season went.
Oh, that sounds good.
Eric, before you get out of here, do you want to promote your stuff?
Sure. I co-host, along with Eric Paul Johnson, the Face the Music podcast, which is available anywhere that you can find a podcast, including your new location of iHeartRadio. And also, that comes out every Saturday at midnight. And also, Expelled Gray Matter on Blogspot if you want to read my movie reviews, and if you want to hear me play a bunch of weird music. It's Vinyl Casserole every Sunday at 12 p.m. Pacific time on maxradio.ca. I thought it was my old radio station.
Well, thank you so much, and thank goodness you're almost done with Xanadu. That's all I need to say.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to actually watch that movie sometime this coming week, because we're about to get to that last episode and start doing our bonus episode.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course, let's thank our regulars. Mary, anything you want to promote or talk about real quick?
Well, first of all, I'm so happy and excited that, at least in my opinion, we finally had a really good episode to sink our teeth into. And you can find my artwork on maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
And Mr. Mike.
As always, it's my pleasure.
Always good to have you back, sir.
I missed hanging out with you guys last week and getting to talk all about the Tesla episode. That was a highlight for me this season for sure.
That is awesome. And we would like to also, let you know we are going to be back once again weekly. This is pretty weird doing Doctor Who every single week. I know we shouldn't get used to it. We got only 4 after this. We only got 5 more episodes left.
And we're at the halfway point.
Yeah.
We crossed it over.
Over
know. The hump.
I don't want to think about having to fill in again for another year and a half or something. Maybe let's start talking about ELO songs instead. I think that might be fun to do.
I know. I think there might be a podcast about that somewhere.
I don't know. Maybe. Let us say we'll be back next week, and we are going to be talking, of course, all about, the sequel to this episode, maybe, called Praxeus. Let's see what it's about, where it goes, and if there's bubble wrap. That's all I could say to it. So until then, my name is Mike Faber. We'll see you here next time on the podcast. Peace. And we're done. Boom.
Woohoo!
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
to get hit with a bunch of angry emails and messages, flame wars from the Tozen Cole fan club.
All two of them?
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.